Jordan's strap is getting smaller every year. Coach Pam making waves and filling our needs. Tuning in, learning on private and free. Watch your life, you're over your height. Just wait and see.
Hello everybody, never so excited. This is going to be my first webinar on here in quite a while, and let me explain what's going to happen while people are coming in. Hopefully this is going to be something that you'll not just be able to watch live, get some rewatch out of, but I'm also looking forward to working together with you guys, so I need your help in the stream as well. So what this is going to be, who has had goals that they failed at? Like, yeah, setting goals, failed at them. I've definitely done that quite a lot. And our problem is a lot of the advice out there just doesn't necessarily work for us because we're not normal. Advice, all the wonderful acronyms and things you're supposed to follow work for most people, or enough people, but there's lots of things, lots of advice out there, lots of books, lots of coaching and everything. And I'm not dissing anybody, you know, if the things that you're hearing from other people are working, then you don't need to listen to me. It's working. But if they're not working, because every year I make goals and I fail at goals, and I've broke it down and going, I'm a crafty person. What is different ways to think about this, to literally flip it on its head? So what we're going to do today, I've got a little bit of training, first of all, to explain the things that we're going to do, to explain some of the psychology behind why the things don't work, and to get deep into that. And then I have in the description, there is a link. Now, this is free. You don't need to sign up to anything. It's just, if you want it, it might help. There is a link. I made a free Canva worksheet that you can all use. I'll show you how to use it. It should work for like free Canva accounts as well, so everybody could use it. Again, I am not affiliated with Canva. I'm not on their program this year. I dropped out of it. So the second part of this video, we're going to use the training that we got in the first half, and I'm going to show you how to use that to build your goals, and then some ideas from you guys. We're going to build it up and, yeah, hopefully get a good start on our year. That is the hope. And thank you everyone who's joining me. I know it's kind of weird. I'm not live very often. I see Nancy, Kat, Amy, and Lou. Hello guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're watching the replay, again, first part is going to be a training. You will still have access to the worksheet, just a Canva document. Again, here I'm not following the rules. I'm supposed to get you all to sign up for a mailing list or do a thing. It's all free. I'm not asking for anything. You can, if you like this, hit the thumbs up, be active in the chat. That's all that I want. That's all that I need. But okay, let's get started with this. So this is our 2025 goal setting, but not the usual one. Like I say, you've probably heard of SMART goals and all the wonderful, there's so many wonderful inspirational quotes, but they're probably wrong for you. If they're not working, they might be wrong for you. Just because something rhymes or sounds good doesn't mean it's right. Let's look into this. So, apparently all my animations are not going to work. So we have static images and an animated me. So I said, you know, SMART goals, everything, all the acronyms that sound great don't necessarily work. So this, yeah, I couldn't make this into an acronym, but we're going to look at why we need to make goals, what kind they are. So your goals need to be inspiring, realistic, measurable, and provide bang for your buck. And I think this isn't just a YouTuber thing. I really believe the final part is literally, it's the thing that flips everything on its head. It's just a sort of, I read something, I had an idea, I've been working on a little something, And it's really helped me to think about things differently. So I decided to jump into it. And one of the quotes that I do actually like, I very much believe what you measure, you can improve. A lot of time people have goals. They want to sell lots on Etsy. They want to become an opera singer, whatever else. But goals without plans and goals without measuring and sorting out the steps and taking action, they're not goals, they're dreams. So we have to plan and we have to measure and we have to come back, feed it back in. So this is the big one for me. It's all the big ones, but a big thing that I realize why I fail most of my goals is because they are not inspiring enough for me. A thing you probably don't know about me, many of you don't know, is I actually have an honours degree in industrial chemistry. So I've been through the education system quite a lot. And Mum, I hope you're not listening, but I don't think there is a single exam, assignment, project, or anything that I have not done the majority of the work for in the last 36 hours. I need the deadline looming over my head. Just saying I want to get better is not good. I need a reason for it. So the ultimate inspiration is the deadline. So either a time or money, having bills to pay. It's selling on Etsy. Now, this doesn't have to just work for Etsy, but obviously that's what I'm talking about, is partially Etsy. Selling on Etsy is hard. Growing a creative business is really, really hard. And I'm never going to say to anyone you should quit your job if, everybody needs money to live. You shouldn't quit your job and say, I'm just going to be able to rely on Etsy. It's fine. That'll be all the motivation I need. But having money worries is horrible, but it definitely helps focus your mind as well. I'm not telling anyone to have money worries, but in the past, this is something I've not really spoke about before, but when I started on Etsy, I really, really needed to be selling on Etsy. I have a whole story about how my car tried to kill me at one time because I didn't have enough money to get it fixed and ran it on. And when I finally got the money to get it fixed, I was driving to the garage to get my car fixed and something made an extra brand new noise and driving became a little difficult. Another thing I also have been in a past life is I was a driving instructor. So thankfully I have advanced driving skills slightly. So I managed to limp it to the garage. And when I got there, the mechanic phoned me by the time I got home and said, my mechanic nearly killed himself. Do you know your brake pipe's been cut? The clunk was a spring coil in my suspension snapping and taking out my brakes. So I'd driven all the way to the garage with no brakes. So that did help focus me, but I don't want anyone else being like that. But just to show, for me personally, let's play. This is my income on Etsy from 2011 to current. It's only 2011 because Etsy stopped showing us older stuff. But can you look at that and see where I started where my bills were paid? That's how much I need the deadlines. I working on other projects, and I've been working on helping you guys here, growing my YouTube so I can help more people, working with eRank, doing loads and loads of other things. But you can see where my focus wasn't on Etsy, and I need to get my focus back onto Etsy. So yeah, anyone guess? I don't even have to ask that, do I? I think it's very clear where my bills became paid. So what I have done, and you guys will be getting this graph and I'll show you how to work it and how to make it for yourself. I have sat down and thought about what is going to be my inspiration for this year. What do I want to make out of Etsy? As I say, my bills are paid. I'm very fortunate with that. I don't have a lot of expenses, but what things do I need, that are really decent goals? And for me personally, my sofa is really bad. I spend a lot of time working from my sofa. So I genuinely need a new sofa. So I've put that in. And then a car. Unfortunately, where I live, there's low emission zones where you can't drive certain ages of cars. Unfortunately, my cars are great. It's a low emission car. There's nothing wrong with it, apart from the age of it is too old to be allowed to drive in the city that's closest to me. So sadly, that's a goal I need. And then as a little stretch goal, my driveway is a bit falling apart and I need someone to help me with that. So I've got goals for real things that I need. Now, when you're sorting out your goals, obviously, everything you make on Etsy is not profit. So you've either got to figure out to give yourself 25% extra in your goals or only count what's coming out in profit. But this is just to be simple, because we're not necessarily, well, if you set out all this as your goals and you get to July and you're way ahead of your goals, are you gonna just shut your shop or something? It's like, no, this is just a rough estimate. This is what we're aiming for. This isn't the exact number, but I have a very simple little chart and I'm going to be able to track my progress. And as I say, you guys are going to be having access to this as well, and I would love to see, if you wish to share it, I'd love to see your inspiration, and we can even share these charts as we progress along them. And let me know, right, if this, hopefully just now this has given you some ideas. What are your goals for, if you're, I think most of us are probably talking about Etsy just now, but if you're thinking about different ways that you've got income or whatever, what are your goals for 2025 out of this portion of your income? It doesn't have to be financial, but it does help, definitely. But just let me know, what kind of goals have you got? A holiday. I've definitely, creator burnout is a thing, and having holidays is great. I've got a couple of holidays booked already for this year and I'm really looking forward to them. Taking time off is really good. So if you haven't necessarily thought of anything, but if you've been struggling through the year, you might need a break. So how much money do you need to put aside to have a break? What things would make your life a bit better? And we've got a cat, sort out a power attachment for my wheelchair. Yeah, I think that's a great goal, because that sounds like it'll make your life better. And save up for Whitby Goth Festival. That's expensive. I've been there many times. And for everyone who's not in the UK, Whitby is the place where Bram Stoker's Dracula came to the UK in fiction. It's a beautiful seaside village, and there is a goth festival there twice a year, plus loads of other festivals. But it's really hard to get to, and of course it's expensive. So Kat, that sounds like a great goal. I kind of wish I was good. I haven't been for years. It was kind of fun, but it's just to get from where I am in Scotland. It's a long way to go. I'll see if I can dig out some old photos of Whitby Goth weekend. Pink Rhino, if I could get enough profit to make my car payments each month, that would be an awesome and huge start. Every bit helps. I think that's an awesome goal, because that's an even better one, because that's like a monthly goal that you're aiming up for. You know how much your car payments are each month, so get into that. That sounds like a really good goal that you can track easily. And what I'm really happy about, a lot of you know, everything you're saying sounds like good goals. I'll get into it in a minute, but lots of people's goals are like to be a top 0.1% business, to hire staff, and love them, but listening to a lot of people just exhausts me. You know, I want to have a comfy sofa and go on holiday. I don't want a business with 200 employees. Amy, we need to finish our kitchen floor so we can put back our old kitchen cabinets and stop camp cooking. I'm loving this because all the goals here are things that are going to make people's lives better. And I think that's what Etsy kind of should be. That's what it was. I mean, yes, it's great if it can become, you can become a crafty entrepreneur full time. Love that. But it was a cool side hustle for crafty people as well. And I love that's what you're looking for. Right. Oh, here we go. Realistic. Yes, that was what I was going to say. But how much do we really need? I forgot this was this slide. Yeah, Pink Rhino also like that these are realistic goals. I wanted to put this one in here because the annoying thing about YouTube and or media is it's spectacular. The spectacle gets all the views, all the clicks. People click on videos saying how I made $100,000 in my first month or something. Everyone clicks on that. But it's not really a realistic thing to be looking at how people build up that kind of a business is a bit too much. And what I love, does everybody know the story of the fisherman and the entrepreneur? I'll just quickly go into this because this is what I live by, basically. So it's a fisherman was sitting on a beach and an entrepreneur walks up to him and says, "What are you doing sitting here? It's only lunchtime." And the fisherman says, "Well, I've caught all the fish I need to for the day. I've made my money, so I'm just sitting here." But the entrepreneur says, "But mate, you could go out to sea again and you could make more money today." "Why would I want to do that?" says the fisherman. "Because then you'd be able to buy another boat and hire some employees." "Why would I want to do that?" "Because then you'd be able to make more and more money." "Why would I want to do that?" "Because you'd be able to build and build and build until you don't have to go out to sea anymore." And the fisherman looks at the entrepreneur and says, "What do you think I'm doing right now?" And I think that is the hustle culture has us not stopping and looking and saying, maybe where I am is actually pretty cool. You know, most of the past couple of days I've been up the side of a mountain with my puppy. You know, sometimes you've got to stop and say, do I need to hustle? Do I need to work 16 hours today to get ahead so in some future I can maybe relax? Or could I go out and relax just now before I get so old that my body's falling apart? You know, so it is deciding. I think the hustle culture is great for some people, but we also have to say, you know, what's the point where we say, well, good enough? I would like quality of life now. So yeah, it looks like we've got the right tribe here. people are seeing that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to build a business, but it sounds horrible and stressful to me to take your crafty endeavor and try and build it up to a very large company. Because again, you know, you see the things, I made 100,000 in my first month or whatever. You made a turnover of 100,000, but was your profit 10%, 20%? You know, a lot of these things are pretty low profit. And then on top of that, if you've got a team of people, all these things are taking money out of your pot before you get it. So if you have a bad month, you've got 20 other people, you've got 20 other families that are needing fed from your effort. So that becomes so much more stressful. Whereas if it's just you, sure, build up so you've got a little cushion. So if you have a couple of bad months, if you have a couple of bad years, at least it's only you that's stressed. Emo, see, that's the thing they never mention. They just mention the gross income and not the expenses. Yeah, I knew that was a thing until I sat and actually calculated it. If you're doing one of these high volume businesses, how little of that is profit and how hard the grind is. If someone's telling you, I have seen people have come to me and said, do I need to be posting 100 listings a day? That is some advice. 100 listings a day. Do I need to be running these ads? Do I need to be doing that? And good grief, no, that sounds exhausting. Especially to just be getting a tiny bit of profit. So yeah. That's an aside of a rant. I didn't mean to go off on that one, but hopefully you know what I'm saying there. And here are some little sayings that you've maybe seen. If you set your goals ridiculously high and it's a failure, you'll fail above everyone else, or reach for the moon and you may end up amongst the stars. So you see this, you've heard this, and you think, yeah, I should set my goals nice and high so I've got something to strive towards. I actually disagree. That might work to motivate some people, but that's missing some basic, it's not even human psychology, mammal psychology. I'm just going to check the chat and then we'll get into what I'm actually saying here so you can think about what I'm going to say here. Yeah, Kat, you can make $1 million in revenue but have to spend 999,000 on ads. Exactly. But then they're going to make a YouTube video and make all their money because everyone will click on how to make $1 million. And that's what annoys me, because they're selling a dream that isn't necessary. Not everyone's lying to you, but they're not selling the full dream. I don't even know. I'm trying to sell the full dream, but it's realistic. It's messy. It has your car trying to kill you. It's not easy, but hey, Van Gogh. Oh, Brett, and the tax nightmare. Yeah, that's like, if I ever make enough money, the first person I'm hiring is an accountant. that I'm not bothered about getting everything else. Rosanny, hi there. Dropping by to say hi. I can appreciate the fisherman story. For quality of life, realistic works best. Lou, yeah, I don't like the idea of not paying living wage if I hire others. Absolutely. That's if you hire other people, you have to treat them fairly. And to be perfectly honest, most artists, most crafty people, most people starting out in any business, if they're the boss of it, you're not paying yourself a living wage to start with. So taking on other people, yeah, it's going to be tough if you're doing all the grind and other people are getting the money, quite rightly, but you're living on just about nothing. Okay, so these two pictures here about setting your goals too high. So top right, this is just, imagine you're going on a running holiday. Do you pick running holiday? Imagine that. No, I would not be doing that. I hate running. But do you pick your companions? Do you aim high? You want to get better at running, so you pick your companions that are way, way faster than you. So by the end of hour one, they're just dots on the horizon. Does that motivate you to try really, really hard? I think most humans, what that would do would be either you would plod on at a fairly slow speed. You wouldn't be pushing yourself because you would be angry at yourself. You would be stressed. You would be worried that you're lost. You've got so much else going on. You're worried that you're holding them back. So you're not going to do your best. And probably you're just going to phone a taxi and go to the pub, jump in an Uber. So setting your goals too high can be actually really demotivating as you see them whiz by. And the reason I've got a dog here, this sounds like a really weird constant story of all the things Pam's tried in her life. For those that don't know, I'm also an agility instructor. And dogs have more sense than the rest of us. If a person's dog runs a little bit too slow, a common thing, people try and motivate their dogs by running really, really fast to get their dog to run really, really fast. And that doesn't work. If you want your dog to run really, really fast, what you have to do is run just a little bit faster than them. Dogs will put in the extra effort to catch you if you're reachable. If you're way out in front, they'll give up pretty much. They'll probably they'll probably run along as they were, but they certainly won't speed up. But if you're nearly there, if your goal is close enough that you can just about touch it, you're going to push so much harder to get there. And the same, if your running holiday was with people who are just a little bit better than you, just stretching you a little bit, then you will push yourself a little bit. If they're too much, you'll be in an Uber. You will have given up. Cat accountants are amazing. Exactly. People who can deal with your money, absolutely love it. Yep. Anyway, so I hope that, I don't know why I've never put them together. I know that's what dog agility is. I know you push harder when the goal's closer, but it's never occurred to me until very recently. The reason we're failing is because we're being told to set goals that are just too hard, or we're setting goals that are too hard. We're not being realistic, and these goals are so far out of reach that you're maybe inspired for a week. That's the thing with New Year, isn't it? We set all these things like, I'm going to do great on Etsy. I'm still doing it this year. I'm going to do great on Etsy, and I'm going to do YouTube fantastically. I'm going to blow up and be the best YouTuber ever. And I'm going to be dead healthy. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to be the fittest I've ever been. And I'm going to be the best friend ever and the best family member ever. And I'm going to do... No wonder you give up before January, because you're exhausted, because you've decided to be everything. So yeah, that's definitely something, well, I have to rein in. I can't speak for all of you, but I definitely have to rein that in. So this is where I'm saying realistic goals. Now here's my numbers again, and you can see my numbers on Etsy. I'm being realistic, are pretty bad because Etsy's never been my full-time income, and my bills are paid. My house is paid. I don't need massive amounts of money. There's another thing that I didn't add. You're seeing all these people, but also where you live can be a big deal. Like I'm in Scotland, the cost of living's a lot less up here. Some places the cost of living's really low. People are striving, pushing you to get 6, 7, 8-figure business, when in reality your cost of living's pretty reasonable where you are. You don't need it. So anyway, if you have been running an Etsy shop, you can look at what was your best year and how close are your goals to what your best year is. You can say, how much, if I'd looked at this at 2019, 2018, I could say, how much have I been growing? Can I grow by that again? Those are realistic goals. If you haven't run your shop for long enough to have realistic goals, the other thing you can do is look at your competition. I've spoke about this. You can look on Etsy, you can look on eRank has top sellers tools. One thing to do is use something like the keyword tool to look up a keyword in your niche and then look at the top, like the shops that are ranking reasonably well for this. But the important thing, yes, he's here. Why is Jason Momoa here? Because I'm contractually obliged to mention him within 30 minutes of every video. So, no. Your competition is not the people at the top. Your competition are not the top shops, like the top shop in art or home decor or something else. Your competition is people who are about your size, people who are just starting out, or people, it's not the top 1%. Most of us aren't the top 1%. So, like, if I was taking up acting, I wouldn't sit and have my goal to be making as much in a year as Jason Momoa makes when he's working or whatever. And I think people instinctively understand that. You get, if you're taking up a role like acting, you're not going to get the big salaries. You have to build up. But people start selling their art and they look at the number one top seller in their niche and think they're going to be that in 2 months or something. That's your aspiration. That's potentially your proof of concept. That's, people will buy this kind of product, but it's not you yet. So look at more realistic competition. And what I want to do for either your competition or yourself, get a feel for what the monthly sales are like, what the seasonality is, so you know realistically what month on month is going to be like. I'm just going to check the chat again. Oh, Amy is an accountant. Oh, fantastic. Emo, my first goal after opening my POD shop was to make one sale. Yep. That's the big one. I got one sale and I'm celebrating, now aiming for 20. Exactly. Small steps. How do you eat an elephant? A small bite at a time. I hate that. You don't. How do you eat an elephant? You don't. But how do you get a big goal? You break it up. Kat, you're right. Huge goals don't work for those of us with disabilities or who are neurodivergent, because we need little steps to keep up the motivation. Hey, well, I can't speak for everybody. But I think most of us need the motivation. We need the carrot to be close enough. We need a little pat on the head sometime, all of those good things. And yeah, absolutely. I think what I've learned thinking about all of this is we are all different and we all have different motivations. And rather than keep on trying to bash your square peg into the round hole, like, be honest about yourself. I know I am not going to do anything until right up to a deadline. So I have to give myself lots of deadlines. I know I am not, I don't want to grind away and be this massive shop and whatever else. I have learned I don't want to copy all the people, and we're half an hour in, so I can say it for those of you that are still here. You're my tribe. I decided doing YouTube and helping coach people is something that I love doing, but I was getting caught up in the shiny make 10,000 sales in 2.5 minutes type videos, because they're shiny and they catch the attention. I was thinking, I want to be able to get all those big views as well. But no, that's not me. I want to help. I don't just want to help. I want to help the people who are the realistic, the little sellers, those of us who just want a better life. Maybe we want a nice side hustle. Maybe we just want comfortable living. Maybe we just want to sell stuff we've made so we can buy some more and make some more stuff. We have realistic goals just to improve our lives. So I want to not just help that. I want to be honest, that's me. That's who I want to be as well. So yeah, I've decided a lot of my focus this year, that's what I'm going to be on. So, I get offered opportunities and things. People offer me stuff, and I'm just looking at how does that meet my actual goal? Not, is this a big opportunity, but does this talk to people like us? Because I do say this quite often, your target market, your target audience is yourself. So I've got to speak to myself a bit more and forget about getting 200 million views. The Geek Authority, hey there. How do you feel about setting quarterly goals then? Monthly goals and then bi-weekly goals every 2 weeks, goals using day to day to achieve them at your pace. Yeah, definitely that is something I'm going to bring up. Roughly, for goal setting, it's important to keep motivating yourself, but it's also important not to be, it's what they call chimping. I'm not sure why the term is, but it's a photography term that is basically people who are taking a picture and then checking the picture, taking the picture, checking the picture. We've got to step back far enough to get enough data to know that if what we're doing is right. But very, very much, I feel you've got to set some goals, set a time frame, and then check on the goals, reevaluate the goals, and reset different goals, or carry on with the goals if they're working. But you can have within your goals very much every 2-week goals, say these are the things I need to do, right? I'll come back and check them. But definitely, like, setting up to make a certain amount of money, probably wouldn't necessarily be checking it every 2 weeks and going, oh no, I'm not doing great. I would be setting, what are the achievables here? Has my social media posts started building views? Have I been getting views on my shop? Yeah, because this is something I'm going to talk about, is the work we do just now should hopefully be compounding. So January, February, March should be your worst months, hopefully. Summer's always a bit slow, but the effort we're putting in should hopefully compound. So it's being realistic, so you don't demotivate yourself. But yes, absolutely agree. Amy, I don't spend enough time watching yours and Starla's videos. Oh, you guys keep me inspired and back to making and listing. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's I think all I want to do is to inspire, because at the end of the day, the only reason anybody fails at Etsy or fails at what they're doing is because they stop, and they stop because they stop being inspired and they think they're failed when you've not failed. Lou, yeah, I make 2 to 3 sales a week with all the badges. I need to do marketing and get more sales, I think. Well, the good thing is 2 to 3 sales a week is a great place to start. You've started at 2 to 3 sales a week. So something's working. So yeah, you've got somewhere to look into what's working and what can you do more of that. Right, so again, you're getting this graph. Hopefully it looks a bit prettier. But the realistic monthly goals, so as I said, look at the monthly sales of what's been realistic for you or what's been realistic for a competitor. Certainly in my niche, in most niches, most things on Etsy, it's backloaded. Q4 has very much the most, and I'm starting from last year wasn't good, so things are going to be a bit low. So probably my January is a stretch goal anyway, because my shop wasn't open for quite a chunk of January. So, but I've got the monthly, all I did, yeah, I will be showing you the 2019 that I was looking at and comparing to. I had a big spike in February in 2019 because I went viral on somebody else's social media. So I took out that spike because I cannot plan for going viral on somebody else's social media. When that happens, that's great. But this is a rough, it'll be a tough, because I'm giving myself a right stretch because I'm taking it back to 2019. I'd probably be better at looking at doing better than I did last year. But hey, I know this is realistic. So you'll get this graph that you'll be able to edit for yourself. If it's helpful, I'll show you how to do that. Yeah. Emo. Oh, I second what Amy said. Very inspiring and informative. Oh, thank you. And Starla is great. If anyone hasn't seen her, probably has. Out of everyone that's here, you quite probably have seen Starla. But Starla Moore on YouTube, she's a good friend and an awesome coach as well. Right. Now this, I hope this is the big one. I hope this will really help you. the final section is bang for your buck, but it's not that we're going to go after this. After we've gone through the slides, we're going to go through and work on some examples, and I'll show you the worksheet that I'm giving you. So how do we know what to work on? This is definitely the big one. I mean, you've probably got some ideas, but quite often people sort of work on the wrong things. And it's not their fault. You're given some terrible advice. I'm not going to slag off other people here, but there's some bad advice. But yeah, the traditional methods that are out there do suck. Upload as many new listings as your competition. I don't know where this one's come from, but I'm hearing this all the time now. People will look at like the number 1 seller or the number 10 seller in their niche and go, oh, they have 1,000 listings, therefore I need to have 1,000 listings. No. More listings is good in that you have more little chances to experiment. You have more little science experiments going on. Not if they're costing you money. I mean, more than the 20 cents. If you have to physically make a different product for every listing, absolutely not. But it gives you little science experiments. It also, Etsy does tell us a new listing gets a boost in search. So if you are listing relatively regularly, or if you're selling and relisting regularly, or I'm not saying this is a strategy, it definitely isn't a strategy like it used to be, but if you're relisting strategically a little bit now and again, what you are doing is having a little boost. Etsy's testing you, so you're having a little bit more visibility. So yes, that's why people can find uploading lots of listings, they might see some results because they've flooded the market. But it's a lot of work and it makes Etsy a bad experience for all of us. So yeah, just making listings without making them better really doesn't do anything. So yes, we can take a little from that and say, maybe I do want to experiment a little bit more. Maybe you can't just list whatever you've got made tomorrow, list everything, and then walk away and sit and do nothing. And then 4 months later go, why didn't I get any sales? It would be better to be experimenting. Should we spend lots on adverts? Probably not. If your listings are no good, they'll still be no good with adverts. If people aren't buying them, there's a reason. Again, adverts can work, but just throwing money at them is just gambling. Post every day on social media. Yes, you have to be active on social media, but I mean, the worst thing, there's so many scheduler tools and everything, and just making random posts and pushing them out to every single social media is not going to be the best strategy, because what works on one thing won't work on others. So it might be good to start with if you want to send it all out and then get an idea of what works. But then you have to focus on doing what works, growing each individual social media platform and figuring out which ones are worth your time. Just saying, oh, I'm using a scheduler so it doesn't take any time. You could actually be hurting your audience because you're annoying people. But yeah, just making content for the sake of it does nothing. Cat's thirded the running a home-based business is lonely and you and Starla inspire me. Oh, thank you so much. And your videos help me feel part of the community. And it goes both ways. It's lonely for us as well, and being part of a community. I remember when I started on YouTube and I was absolutely amazed that people would go live and they would be talking to the people that were chatting to them, and they knew them, because you start to know, like, I could walk past any in the street. I don't know what you look like, but I know much of the names that come up like every week on eRank and everything. It's great that, yeah, it is a community. It's just different ways of knowing people than traditionally. The Geek Authority, Love Fest, Starler and me, gives ideas, lessons, and shortcuts to allow adaptations, understanding, and freedom to make your shops better and more, hopefully, profitable. Bravo. No, thank you. Look, we wouldn't be doing it if you guys weren't here as well. So we'll help each other. Right. So to know what we've got to work on, we need to flip things. We need to think about things differently. Hopefully we've thought about goals a bit differently, but we need to think about what we're going to work on a bit differently. I hope you guys like this bit. I absolutely do. But yeah, we literally need to flip things on their head. I'm really annoyed. I had animations. The animations don't work in this slideshow. But anyway, so what I've done here, as I say, I've read some things and thinking about things, but as an artist or a creative, there's probably some things that you do with what you're creating that can be, we can take a tip. So take a tip from artists. Two things can happen. You can be too close to the problem and you need a new viewpoint. So let's look at that, how artists see it. And this is probably where most of us are with our shops. But if you're creating something, if you're drawing something, it's really hard to know if what you've done's any good. You're sitting there going, if you've created this, is this any good? I'm not sure. Do I need to work on this bit some more? I just don't know. And that's because you're too close to the problem. One thing I do with all of my art, when I'm doing any kind of art and I'm stressing out about it, I put it away. It's not just like Joey from Friends putting scary books in the freezer, but literally I put it in the other side of the room, because you are sitting, if you can look, that's kind of the left eye bit there. You are sitting looking so close going, is that shading too blocky? Is that eyelash in the right place? But when you put it further back, you see everything as a whole and you say, okay, yes, that does definitely look good. So that's part of the thing, is to look at the big picture. That's why I always say you want to be looking at a large enough time period for everything, but you also want to step back. Yeah, we'll cover these in a minute. But another thing that artists do, especially digital artists, it's easier to do digital, but you can do it traditionally as well. You can also get stuck in the viewpoint of what you're looking at, and you need to flip things around to see. So if you've been looking at this and you don't know if it's any good, if you literally flip things, you get a better idea if everything's in proportion, if everything's in perspective. Now, how on earth can we do that with our Etsy shops? Hopefully we're going to have some fun with this. Negative strategy. What we want to do is, rather than focus on how do I get views, how do I get sales, you don't know what the most important things to work on. It's really easy to quickly know the most important things to work on. If you say to yourself, rather than how do I get views, flip it around and say, if I wanted to kill the views in my shop, what things could I do right now to kill the views? So first thing, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Use your stats to look into where were you getting views, where were you getting sales, what was working. Learn these big things. So obviously in a situation like this, we said I had a big boost from social media that year, but Etsy app and other Etsy pages, I got a whole lot of sales for them. Fortunately, we don't get much data from that for Etsy, but if I wanted to kill my views, find ways to get less views there, find ways to get Etsy ads were doing quite well, find ways to get less views from Etsy ads, turn them off. So how do I get less sales? Oh, I could have confusing listings. I want you to think about this, because we're going to circle back and I'm going to need your help with this. But How do I get less sales? I could have confusing listings, perhaps too many options, or a title that's keyword stuffed. How about terrible photos? Yeah, if they're too dark or you can't see what it is or there's too much stuff in there. How do I just get less views? Don't do any SEO at all, have bad SEO, don't do social media, the things I saw that were bringing people in. So yes, let's dive in a wee bit more. So I said, here is, I hope this works for us all. I said I was giving you all a worksheet to work through, and I hope this helps. This is a Canva document. There's nothing dodgy. There's a link in the description to this video. All you have to do when you open it, it will be view only. You just come into, file, make a copy, and you make a copy of it, name it whatever you want to do, and then you can work on it. So quick couple of things I'll show. If you haven't used Canva, I'm not affiliated or associated with Canva this year. I just use them. So first thing I said, I'd give you these wee graphs. If you haven't used graphs before on Canva, it's really easy. Hopefully this all shows up. So when you click on the graph, if you hit the edit button, it just brings up what I've got here. So you can put in what your goals are. So just click on that, type in what you want, and type in the amount of money for your goals. I've also added a nice to have goals. So what you can do there, so that if you keep on putting things further along in this part of the graph, then what's going to happen there is this will get longer. So if you have more goals, add them. But let's say, what could be a nice to have that I fancy? Office chair. This thing makes a horrible noise. And I'm going to put it into this line, so that'll start us on the bottom chart. I've been looking, an office chairs. Let's do a nice fancy one. It's about 500 quid. And you can see that's added to the graph nicely. So you can add things there, and then as you're going along, you progress. What have you made in profit or sales, or however you're counting it? Just pop it in here, and that starts to come in. If I put it under sofa, I'm saying, okay, that's gone to my sofa, and then however often you're coming back to check on these, the Geek Authority, if I come back every 2 weeks and I put in and I say, oh, I made an extra 100, so it's 150, and then that starts creeping up, and then you come in and you've got to 1,000. So then you could start adding in a little bit to there, and it just automatically does all of that. So yeah, just if you haven't used graphs on Canva, that's what you want. So and also, if you want to add, you can print these out, but I like having things online. So if you're on a sheet and you just hit T, that brings up a text box, and you can just type in what your goals are. So just type in sofa and pop it into here, and you can fill in these charts. So I'll just take you through these until we get to things we can play with. So first one is, what are your goals? We've spoke about this. Hopefully you have your goals so you can fill them in. You can make your pretty graph. If you don't like graphs, get rid of them. I love graphs. I nerd on this. Second page is figuring out our realistic goals. So a good thing, if you've got time on, if you've had years on Etsy or something, you can put the dates of your top years on Etsy and how much you made. You can look at the turnover from last year and then put in the realistic amount of money that you could possibly make there. And then we have another graph. I just made this the 12 months of the year. the targets that I put in, and then where you've got actual, and just again, click on the graph, click edit, and you can change any of the numbers to have the graph. So if I said I was going to get my social media peak there and I was going to get loads of sales, that automatically changes. What was that? There we go. So it automatically changes, and you can come in and add your real numbers. And so if you're doing a bit better for the month, then it's great, you can see it. And if you're a bit behind, it's right there, you can see it as well. So again, trackable, hopefully simple. Again, you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but I thought, hey, I'm making these, why don't I give them to you? And okay, yeah, so what's bang for your buck? First of all, as you saw, going into your Etsy stats. If you don't know how to do this, all I've done, you go into stats. If you hit custom, you can choose the dates that you want to look at. So I just looked through a few years. I thought 2019 was a good one. So here's my data for 2019. But you want to go in, I don't worry too much about all of this, but you want to look at how shoppers found you. Unfortunately, the social media, as I say, it was social media. It was Pinterest. Oh, I thought that was that was the year of Pinterest. I can't remember what post that was, but so you're seeing where the data has come from, so you can dig into this a little bit and just scroll down as well. You can see the listings. So now because this was a few years ago, things might have changed a bit, and I might want to look into what's doing better just now. But if it's recent, definitely make sure feature these listings, get them out there, or at least don't change them, don't get rid of them until they're not doing so well. And then you want to also, look at the keywords. If you hit Etsy search, you'll see what search terms were people finding you for. So you get all of that data. So you fill in your top traffic sources for that year, the things you're really wanting to focus on. What were your top social posts? If you're doing social media, does Facebook work better for you? Whatever. What were the top keywords you were being found for? And what were your top listings themselves? Where are they driving the traffic from? Because that can be different. You could have your third top listing might be doing really well on Facebook or something. So just good to keep a note of all of this. And then we have, right, so, and I'm going to check the chat while we're doing this. I want you guys to come up with some ideas for me. Let's do this. Our negative strategy. Tell me, what things can we do? What things could you do in an Etsy shop that would cause the views to stop? What things would stop conversion? What things would stop people who came into your listing actually coming on and buying it? And what things can we do to get really bad reviews in our shop? Go, give me some ideas here. What can we be doing to mess up our shop? And that could give us an idea of what could we be doing to make our shop better. The Geek Authority. Pam, have you ever considered doing live or recorded reviews, critiques of our shop on your channel? Can we be your first? I have, and I probably will again, absolutely. The problem is, what I've done, and I definitely did enjoy it and will do it again, in my Facebook community that I don't do enough work in because I keep burning out. Pam Duthie's Felting Friends, Pam Duthie's Crafty Friends on Facebook. I have looked into people's shops for things that I'm making a video on to look into. Like, I got ChatGPT to write headlines for the shops. I looked at certain things, so rather than because the problem, I love doing shop reviews, but the problem is what happens is there's two things. Generally, without me being in the back end of your shop, the advice is fairly generic. And it's generally people are making the same similar mistakes, but there's very little that you can be, well, have terrible photographs and think, all of that, but that's subjective, and I don't necessarily know your audience. I love doing it, it's great fun, but the second and most important thing is, to be honest, people just don't watch it. You'll see it if you watch any kind of live reviews and things. You'll have people coming on going, but what about a POD shop? No, but what about this kind of shop? And it's like, everything's relevant to everybody. So I absolutely want to hopefully work more with the community to be able to give real examples, but giving just straight critiques, I love doing them, but it doesn't work very great. I hope that makes sense. But yes, I'm absolutely up for looking at your shops and using them in constructive ways in videos that help everybody, if that makes sense. Anyway, right. So what can we do to spoil things? So Pink Rhino has bad photos. Love it. Yes, that can stop views and it can stop conversion. And actually, if your that went into the right place. If your photos are misleading, that can get you bad reviews. So well done, you're getting all three columns. Late shipping, yep, these are late shipping. Poorly packaged. I think in lots of ways bad unboxing, because if you watch any videos, there's so many people, there's so much negativity on Etsy as well, but there's a lot of Etsy hauls, and the good ones are always people are like, look at this, oh, it's so nice. The unboxing experience is good, but also damaged stuff. Yes, Brett, Mary, Drew, absolutely. Make your product look best. But we're doing the negative. So make your product look terrible. So, yeah, terrible photos. And I'm glad that's the first two things you're talking about. Two people are talking about already. Bad photos. Bad photos are so important. Yet people don't watch videos on how to make good photographs. Not a good variety of items. I like that. A variety. So that could stop conversion. Not enough, but also too much can as well, because it can be confusing. Yeah, cat being the same as everyone else. So just don't stand out. But there is another one there of I hate this. I like I'm different. I like to stand out. But there is some truth to, especially social media, sort of pushes what's doing well. So there does seem to be a favoring of things that are a bit similar. So you've got to stand out enough to be noticed, but not enough that you kind of weird people out. Oh, Jessica, love that. Your other photos being bad. Other photos. Other photos not the same quality as your main one. So that would stop conversion, wouldn't it? AI mock-ups, absolutely. Bad AI mock-ups. Well, no, just, yeah, come on. Customers are getting more savvy, and you could reduce views by having AI mock-ups that look the same as everyone else. Things to stop conversion, Jessica, absolutely. Description is important. Just because a big chunk of customers don't read the description, there are also a big chunk of customers that do. And people also go, yeah, I'm not actually being clear about anything there, am I? Description, no information. I can't type today. So yeah, you could stop conversion by having bad info, not answering the questions, being confusing, really terrible grammar. I've got so many bad spellings. Rosani, yeah, things to get yourself arrested, copyright infringement. But yeah, selling stuff. Let's just go with illegal. Make it easy. Not Brett, Mary, not answering messages. Well, that's a bit of both there, isn't it? Not replying to messages. Yep, I don't agree with Eatsy's you have to do it in 24 hours. And actually, it makes it worse. If anyone's messaged someone and you get, because they're worried about their star seller, you get the auto reply, and then 5 minutes later, you get a reply. And it's so, and I just don't need more messages. I know why people have done it. No details in the description. Yep. So, yeah, that's no info or bad info. Yep. Oh, well, in fact, yeah, well, it is different. What do we call that? Because that could be in the materials or the description or anywhere, but yes. And yeah, no size comparison in the pictures as well. That can be, yeah, Pink Rhino, just copying. Yes. Yes, I absolutely hate that. Find a bestseller and just copy it. No. Yeah, Rosani, badly written. I am a little dyslexic and terrible at writing, and I know some of my listings are bad. I've got to stop that. That's one for me. And I've probably got some mistakes in this worksheet if anyone's using it. Emo, yeah, at first I was excited about Printify integration with Placeit for mockups, but then I saw the AI mockups and went, oh, never mind. Yeah, I totally understand. Right, so I hope this makes it clear that it's a little easy. Well, for me, it makes it easier to see what are the important things to work on if you do the negative. How do I make people hate my listing? Tells you the biggest bang for your buck. Because have we said things like posting every day, making sure that your banner looks amazing, making sure that all the little niggly bits that people talk about, they might be important to the overall picture, but we want to go in and do the quickest wins. And you can find the quickest wins by saying what could be the biggest turn-offs to people. So Emo says good list. Hey, you guys came up with it, so I think it's a good list. And the good thing is, like, when you start thinking about things in a completely different way, I find your brain sort of just activates a little bit better, and you might come out with some more ideas, which is why, not a show for Canva, but it's why I like having draft documents on Canva, because this is sort of open on every computer and on my phone, so I can just pull it up and go, oh, I thought of something else, and put it in there. And then what you can do with all of this, let's say, now I did say bad writing was something that I've got to look at. So I'm going to copy that, and then I have, this is what I'm going to focus on through the first 3 months. You can change this to anything you want, but so I'm just, why does it never paste where I want? Anyway, there we go. So here's something I want to focus on in January. So I can pick these things up, stick them in here. And I've just got the first 3 months, because we do have to reassess things. So you can put in what I'm going to be focusing on, the bang for the buck. Any other ideas, just pop them in here, what I'm going to be working on. And then at the end of the first quarter, assess it. Are we ahead or behind on the goal? Yes or no? But, just to maybe reassess and sugar your goals to make sure that you're not too far behind things, and make a note of what has been working. What have you enjoyed doing? What are you still going to be able to do? What things do you think are hurting? Because things can hurt. I'm not an expert so much on the other social media platforms, but they're all kind of similar. But something like on YouTube, you can get into a sort of death spiral, basically. If I start posting things that you guys don't like and you don't click on, what happens is YouTube, with my next content, shows it to less people. And if less people click on that, then you start getting shown less and less and less. So if you have some bad times, you can get into a bit of a death spiral. You can do the other way as well. I hope. Just now I seem to be on an up, which I'm loving, but it's also terrifying because it means you have to keep going. But you can hurt your goals here. You won't necessarily, having a bad listing on Etsy won't necessarily hurt you, but you could do things to hurt your social media. You could definitely if you're starting to annoy customers and getting really bad reviews, if you're starting to try and sell illegal things and do things that get your shop shut down, yes, absolutely. But I hope yeah, by what you've been saying, you don't sound like the group of people that I need to worry about things like that. But look at your social media. Are you posting things that people aren't interacting with? If you are, stop doing that. Stop doing the thing that's hurting. So it's a good thing to look at with all your posts, what you're working on. What's an average number of views you get? What's an average number of click-through rates you get to your listings if you're promoting a listing? What's an average number of comments or likes or retweets? Are they still tweets? Whatever. What's an average number? And stop doing the things that are getting much less than average, so you're always pushing your average up. And again, unclear if it's not working yet. Sometimes you start doing something and it's going to take a wee while to build up. So if something's not hurting and it's not depleting your energy too much, if you're not hating it, then maybe you'll keep going with that. So you've done reassess, you've looked at your stats, you've done everything, and you've got the next quarter. What are we going to focus on? Come back and review. And it's just showing you the last few slides. Obviously, the next quarter, review, next quarter. Little star here because it's the end of the year. You did it. Do a review, pat yourself on the back. And it would be really cool. I don't know if anyone else is going to get involved, but I'm going to be doing this. It would be cool to see share your graphs with me if you feel so inspired. You can hide the numbers if you want or whatever, but I'd love to see how your progress are going, especially because all the goals that people were coming up with were like life improving goals. But anyway, yeah, let's just let me know if there's any questions or anything about this, if I'm deluding myself. But for me, I thought this was helpful, so I thought to share it with you. Let me know about the format of doing it in a live video. Main reason, I thought it'd be nice to get your ideas as well, because that does help me. I've got my worksheets filled out with your ideas. It's great. But it does help me to do it that way. But also, from my point of view, I have hundreds of ideas and I want to share them, and then I never get around to making a video because it's hard. But having a live that I'd set up for gave me a goal and a deadline that I had to get this done by. So I'm using you as the guinea pigs. But let me know if there's anything that you don't have to do absolutely everything I thought of, but even if you're just thinking, I'm inspired to start working on my shop a little bit, that's enough. I'm inspired to create a new thing. Just, let me know if anything helped there. If this format's good, if I'm deluding myself, if you enjoyed that. I've not done a webinar like this on this channel. So it's kind of my first webinar that I've been allowed to do everything all by myself without having to run anything by anyone. So that's really cool. So let me know. And Rosanne, thank you, Rosanne, for reminding me to be a YouTuber. Don't forget to hit the like button. There is, in the description to this video, there's a link to your worksheet if anyone's interested in using it. So yeah, if anyone's interested, but there's a link to that. Give me a like. If there was anything you enjoyed in that and you need to come back and look at it, the live will be up. Remember, I'm not charging you for anything. I'm not running a course. I'm not even collecting your emails to get my little worksheets or anything, because I'm trying to be the anti-influencer. I'm trying to be the opposite of everyone else, because everyone else is doing their thing. That works for some people. There's a reason we're here. It's because it's not worked for us. So let's be the anti-influencer. So I hope that helped everybody. Let me know. I did enjoy that. Hopefully it helped. And keep an eye out. I've got whole loads of ideas just now. So hopefully I don't burn out too quickly. Thank you so much. And catch you next time.
And if you have some dreams to craft and share, Coach Pam's got wisdom, don't despair. Turn your passions into things that bling. With each video, your dreams take wing. Tune her in and hear her pointers sing. Create and shine.